Well, hey guitar students, I'm here to help you walk through some of the lead parts in the song At Your Name by Phil Wickham. So yes, we do this in the key of G, and so everything that you see here is in the key of G. So right at the beginning of the song, there's just kind of like a swelling in, so I'm typically on my neck pickup with some sort of clean sound with a lot of reverb and delay on it, and oftentimes I use a volume pedal to even swell in with it. And so if you hit a G and swell in, that's typically what's happening there. Now, of course, there are some moving notes in there as well. And so what you'll hear or see is just kind of in that same G shape of that inversion chord there. And then down to a C. And then back to that G inversion chord with some of those moving notes. So that's in there for sure. Then of course there's the big chorus, and I do again some inverted chords and things like that. The shape might look a little different to some of you, so I do use that same kind of first, third, and fourth fingers for that G position. So on the A string, it's the 5th fret, and then on the G string, it's the 7th fret, and then on the B string, it's on the 8th fret. So it's still that same 2 notes, but with different fingers, and then of course adding in that lower note with the index finger up here. So that's how it starts on that G, and then for an E minor sound, I keep my ring finger and pinky there and bring my middle finger down to the 7th fret on the A string. So it's another E minor type shape, just with a little different tonality to it because of the low note. Then a D, and then C. So that pretty much takes care of the entire first verse and first chorus. And then there is a lead line at the end of the first chorus as you're going into the second verse. And so it starts on the 13th fret. So coming out of that C shape. So that's definitely on a big sound with lots of distortion or overdrive. Typically I use overdrive on the bridge pickup, and the tablature will be on the screen there. So it's hanging out on the B string, the G string, up to the high E. And so it starts on that 13th fret. So hopefully you can follow along with that, and you can hear it pretty well in the recording as well. During the second verse, so again, back to some big chords, whether you're strumming, just kind of open chords, those work great. And then there is a piece in there headed into the second chorus that gets pretty exciting or pretty aggressive, where you play a D chord and then immediately move up to the 7th fret on the high E. So 7th fret on the high E, down to the 10th fret of the B string, and then it kind of does a walking move on the G string from the 7th to the 9th, and then it kind of brings you into this shape here. So 7 and 9 on the G string, 8 on the B string, 9 on the G string, up to 7 on the E string. Then back to the G string, 7 and 9, up to 12. So a lot of kind of inverted pieces and just kind of working through some of those notes. So again, the ending of that goes from the G string 7 to 9 to 12, and then on the B string 13, slide up on that G string to 14, B string on the 15th, and then the 14th fret on the E string. And then you're back into Lord of all the Earth. After that second chorus, there's a piece that goes into the bridge that's very similar to the notes that you play after the first chorus, with one key change. There's an extra note at the end to bring us into the start of the bridge. There There's no one like our God starts there. So that takes care of that interlude. And then in the ending of the song, there are a couple of big choruses, and then there's kind of a long interlude where it's actually the chorus chords being played. There aren't any vocals, and so the electric kind of takes the lead line of the vocals, and it's very, very similar to both of those interludes that we've already played, but you end up playing it kind of twice. So in fact, it's very much the exact same as the first interlude after the first chorus. You play that whole thing, you end on the 12th fret of the B string, and then you kind of start the similar notes again, and the second half of this ends differently. So you kind of walk back down after that 15th fret on the B string, and it comes back to the 12th fret of the B string, jump down to the G on the 11th, and the 12th fret on the B string, and that brings you back into the D chord to finish out the rest of the song. So definitely use those tabs, use the playthrough, use this walkthrough to help learn those parts for At Your Name in the key of G.